to your 2026 video horoscopes with me, Lada from AstroLada.com. I call those short and sweet summaries of 2026 for each of the 12 signs because they focus just on Saturn and Jupiter, the two planets that determine the external and internal environment, the most important events in our life. We'll go through them so you have an idea how the year will be ahead. But if you'd like the full version of those videos, you can check my 2026 video horoscope, 2 hours for each of the signs, way more in depth. We covered the other planets, Uranus, Pluto, and Neptune as well, all the eclipses, all the retrogrades of Venus and Mercury, and so on. But now enjoy and may you have a blessed 2026. Sun, Moon, Rising 2026 Aries, this is the biggest year for you from all of the 12 signs because all the universe is looking up at you. Saturn and Neptune are entering your sign. Actually, for the last couple of years, Saturn and Neptune and Jupiter and the nodes have been in water signs. Houses for you that are invisible. Houses that are the 12th, the 4th. So maybe you've been drowning a bit too much in the last 2025 and 2024 in kind of being stuck because these are houses not about forward progress, they're internal. Like you live through internal impressions from the past, you ruminate on the past, you heal your soul. It's kind of an Aries as a sign that is go, 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 is used to progress, to move forward. So it might have felt like you were stuck in some way, whether by your own choice or without your own choice, and that it was that you were kind of suspended in space, not sure where to go because of Saturn in the 12th house. It can be a very confusing time of uncertainty. Something is ending, but the new is still not starting. So that tends to be a frustrating time for fire signs when the water houses, when a lot of planets are in water like we had it. Because fire gets put out by water, and that's what we've had for a year and a half too. A lot of water, a lot of drowning in emotionalism, but that was necessary. The soul was preparing you, was cleaning itself up from previous impressions, unprocessed feelings, unprocessed traumas, and there was a lot of endings as well, letting go of the past, or letting go of things that are unnecessary for the new beginnings that Saturn will bring to you the moment Saturn enters Aries, which happens once every 30 years. Last time this happened was 1997, 8, or 1996, 7, 8, something like that. And this is once or 2, 3 times in a lifetime that Saturn enters your sign. And the ultimate goal of Saturn is to start a new karmic cycle for you. So there will be endings that are completing and things that you've been struggling for many years, maybe 7, kind of the small cycles of Saturn, 7 years, 14 years, or 30 years, the whole cycle, 28 years, something you might have been struggling for a very long time with, or that has been a repeating pattern, a repeating conditions and environment for you, almost like set in stone. This will end because Saturn is ending a full circle, a full karmic cycle for you. It's like, okay, you've suffered enough there, you've learned your lessons. Now we're starting with new lessons, something new on a higher level, more aligned to your current maturity, to your level of consciousness. So a lot of difficult situations, or situations that you thought you were stuck in with your whole life, or habits or behaviors or ways of being, will die out now. And there will be the birth of a new you. Because Saturn transiting your sun, moon, or ascendant, it's a rebirth. It's a powerful new beginning that is starting in 2026, 2027. Actually, the first 15 degrees Aries will feel it the most this year, from 0 till 15, because Saturn is working there, the first half of Aries. While the second degrees Aries from 15 till 30, 2027 will be the more pivotal year. There might be still more in a 12th house energy in 2026. So you can listen to Taurus when I speak more about Saturn in the 12th house to get an idea, but you'd also feel this new beginnings of Saturn in your first house. And Saturn is a planet about maturation. So you start noticing that you're strangely willing to change spontaneity, something that Aries is very like, oh, I get up now, I'll do this, I'll do that. But you'll be willing to trade spontaneity for structure, for discipline, for routines, because there's the need to almost like you'll be willing to give up part of your freedom now, a small part of a freedom, but just so you can work on something, so later on you'll have a much bigger freedom. later on with the freedom of satisfaction of having achieved something tangible, real, of having achieved like a big goal of yours, for example. So yeah, it is about giving up some freedoms with Saturn in your sign. It is about purposefully, consciously, or unconsciously being restricted. So kind of some of your liberties, some of your frivolities or distractions, you very likely, because it's a conjunction, you would willingly remove them. Maybe you're wasting too much time playing computer games. Maybe you're wasting too much time on social media. Maybe you're wasting time, wasting your life, not doing anything. But there is a sense of, sorry, urgency when Saturn is around, that you need to mature, to grow up, and that there is this narrow time of a couple of years of opportunity where you'll be able to be more self-disciplined, where you'll be able to become more serious. And that's why you willingly are able usually to sacrifice wastefulness, frivolity, late nights for early mornings to achieve something meaningful, to achieve something long lasting. These are the words for Saturn, long lasting. And Saturn also rules your 10th house of career and 11th house of long term goals and dreams and wishes. 11th house is also to be gainful, to be materially successful, to be successful in society, to be accepted. So, some dream of yours, some big goal that is also professional and financial and social economic, you'll be sacrificing some of your comforts for it. And of course, Saturn through your sun, moon, or rising is not always the easiest. You can feel a bit more down, energy is lower. That's why you need to prioritize instead of distractions. That's why we cut distractions and spending time, like, I don't know, drinking or partying. It's like you consolidate your energies and you find out what is truly that needs your attention the most, because you feel the sense of time is ticking out. I don't have time. I'm going to cut off all those distractions, frivolities. They feel wasteful. And you choose, it's like a mountain that you choose to climb on. You choose to climb on this mountain. And after that, you come out of this transit with quiet dignity that you are able to make it despite the difficulties. Yes, there are restrictions when Saturn is around. Yes, there is more obstacles. The universe tests us. Are we committed to a certain path? Are, especially for you, Saturn rules the 10th house, to a certain career goal, to a certain goal or dream of yours. And sometimes when Saturn transits the sun, there is issues with father figures, male figures that we have to overcome. But again, we come out with quiet dignity that we were able to overcome these problems or those challenges, situations, these tests of maturity on our own, and you feel much stronger. Saturn builds backbone. Saturn through the moon, if your moon is in Aries, is often about going through some emotional, personal life, relationships, family situation, of that you're tested about your maturity, about your patience, about your commitment. With the ascendant is often, and sun, moon, or ascendant can be the physical health as well. So you need to take better care of your health with Saturn in your sign, to be more organized, to have some certain routines. Also get more sun, because Saturn is the opposite of the sun. So balance it with sun, with movement, because Saturn tends to freeze the blood, slow it down, tends to kind of cool off the body, arthritic, bone, teeth issues, cooling off, cold, the immunity is lowered. So balance it by more sun, maybe some red light. The opposite of Saturn is red, or sunlight directly, which is the best, of warmth. Get like hot saunas to overcome the coldness of Saturn. And Saturn can be a bit depressive energy as well. But if you have a goal while you're doing it, it's not going to feel so hard. And one day when you look back and trace back your successes and trace back the time you matured and the time you did something really important and the time you build your strengths, it will come back to the time when Saturn was transiting your sun, moon, or ascendant. With the ascendant is also about, powerful. With the 3, it's powerful new chapters in your life. So yeah, this is Saturn, guys. It's the mountain you choose to climb on your own, even if there are external problems. Because it's a conjunction, I often see it more like you personally undertake those challenges, those more mature, more difficult things that at other times you wouldn't be willing to take, but now you are. And at the same time, Neptune is also entering there. But only the first 5 degrees of Aries will feel Neptune. While Saturn is very left brain activity, it's about planning, organizing, postponing of gratification for the purpose of something long term. It's very much about planning, you know. Neptune is the right brain. It's about being here in the moment right now. It's about letting go and letting God. It's about creativity, art. It's about dissolving your ego and who you think you are and your self identification, while Saturn builds those new roles for the rest of Aries. Those first 5 degrees of Aries will have the opposite effect, the right brain effect, dissolving of the ego, of who they are, sorry, of the direction of their life, and they'll have to be willing more to be present in the moment rather than trying to plan, to do, to go, go, go. But I speak a lot more about Neptune and Saturn with specific stories, examples how they have worked for others in my long version of this video for 2026. You can check it out. It's a discounted price now, just $19 for 3 hours, almost 2.5 hours, for Aries. Now, the other big event is that Jupiter, till the first half of the year, it's in, of course, the sign of Cancer. So wherever Jupiter is, we get a lot of opportunities there, or things line up easy, positively. And this is our personal life, the fourth house. It can be good for a house. For example, we bought a house with Jupiter in my fourth house and we're decorating it now. Or something to do with the family, extending family. We added new members of the family. Extended family is the fourth house. Your personal family or extended cousins, brothers, so on. Something good happening there with your parents, with your near and dear, or you're receiving support from them. Or if you're doing any project to do with land, with home, it will go smooth. Or with relocation, you can find the place that you feel like home. Things align there with ease. Like God doesn't test us, it gives to us. And plus it's about emotional happiness, healing of the inner self. And remember I told you 2025 there was a lot of water for us, this kind of emotions and so on. From February, Saturn enters Aries, our first house, Neptune as well. So we come more into our power, into strength, the first, and then Jupiter enters our fifth house. So from water emotional houses, gradually in 2026, the planets, the important planets that determine the external life for us, that determine the big events, move to houses over which we have more control. Because the emotional houses, there the psyche works. There it's like the gestational period of breaking down the old self, psychological issues, being more emotional, reminiscing about the past, healing past wounds. It's not it's very internal process, more like psychological, you know. And then it goes into houses that are fiery houses, the first, the fifth. Saturn goes in the first, Jupiter goes in the fifth, so we'll feel much more as Aries, especially when Jupiter also enters a fire sign from July onwards for a year ahead, more like ourselves. And despite of Saturn testing us to some extent, making us be more mature, more grown up, more helping us build patience, Jupiter will also from July start also giving us results. Not just tests, but start supporting us, and there will be solutions to the tests. There will be Saturn presents some challenge. Jupiter immediately allows us to creatively think of a solution because the fifth house is a creative house. Sorry about that. You see, with all this water, I've been sick. But when they enter first, fifth house in 2026, you come into power, more strength, more self-control. You become more creative with Jupiter in the fifth house from July. It can be good also for having children, getting pregnant, or for something good happening in the life of your children with Jupiter in the fifth house, for romance. So it's not just all seriousness, Saturn, sacrificing late nights for early mornings and discipline. There is also fun when Jupiter enters the fifth house from July. There is romance, the lucky, positive, happy romance. Maybe building something serious while at the same time having romantic rejuvenation. If you're already in an existing relationship, there can be resurgence of your joy of life, of romance together, reigniting of the love, or falling in love with someone new with Jupiter in the fifth house. Also, you become more creative, more full of ideas, original ideas for problem solving or for whatever. And you discover new hobbies, new joys, new fun ways to live your life. Because fifth house is, can you enjoy life like a child? Can you be in the flow? Only children, they're full of energy. They discover newfound joy in life. And if you've been lacking joy, that's when it comes. When Jupiter enters your fifth house, you'll discover new hobbies, you'll discover talents that you are not aware of, and a lot of creative solutions to situations. So I can talk to you a lot about, Neptune, Saturn, Jupiter. The nodes are changing signs. They're moving out of water, entering fire and air. So a lot of supportive energy for Aries. Despite of Saturn, Saturn will help you build something long term over the next 2 years with a lot of support from other planets. Pluto, Uranus, Neptune, they would all be helping Aries. So check out the long version of this video if you want to hear in depth much more. 2 hours I speak about each influence, how many years it lasts, and so on. Thank you.